think about it. We're all increasingly relying on clean energy, solar panels, wind turbines.
Yeah.
But what's the often unseen foundation that makes all of that work, that gets that clean energy to us reliably?
Well, it's the power grid, isn't it? And it's facing a huge evolution right now.
Exactly.
Integrating these variable renewable sources puts a real strain on the existing infrastructure. We need smarter solutions to ensure stability and efficiency, and that's precisely what we're diving into today.
Right. We've got this fascinating recent report that really drills down into the flexible alternating current transmission systems market, or SCTS. Now, FACTS, it sounds like pretty serious engineering jargon, doesn't it?
It does a bit, yeah. But the core idea is actually quite elegant, really.
Okay.
Think of FCTS as the intelligent tools that help our power grid operate much more effectively. They use advanced power electronics to actively manage things like voltage levels on power lines, improve the overall quality of the electricity,
Okay.
and control something called reactive power.
Reactive power.
Yeah.
Wasted energy.
Sort of, yeah. Imagine water flowing through pipes. Some of that movement might just be sloshing back and forth, not actually pushing the water forward where it needs to go. Reactive power is a bit like that, and FACTS technology helps minimize that wasted energy.
Okay. So if a big gust of wind suddenly powers up a turbine, or maybe a cloud passes over a solar farm, these FACTS systems step in to make sure the grid doesn't get, overwhelmed or experience a dip.
Precisely. The report details several specific types. You've got static VAR compensators, SVCs, and static synchronous compensators, STATCOMs. They mainly focus on voltage stability.
Right.
Then you have more advanced systems like unified power flow controllers, UPFCs, and thyristor-controlled series capacitors, TCSCs. They offer even finer control over the power flow. Each one plays a vital role in keeping the grid humming along smoothly.
Okay, so our mission today is to really unpack what this report tells us about the SCTS market. How big it is now, where it's headed, and what the key factors are shaping its future.
Agreed. Let's start by looking at the overall size of this crucial market and its projected growth.
Right, so the big picture first. According to the report, in 2025, the global FCTS market is estimated to be worth USD 1,580 million. That's a pretty substantial starting point.
It is, yeah. It really highlights the already significant role these technologies play in power transmission.
And the report projects this market to reach USD 2,556.54 million by 2033. That's considerable expansion in less than a decade.
Indeed. That growth works out to a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 6.20% from 2025 to 2033. It indicates, a consistent and pretty healthy expansion of the sector.
And just for context for you listening, all these figures use 2024 as the base year, with historical data going back to 2021 and projections stretching out to 2033, gives us a good window into the market's trajectory.
Definitely.
Okay, now let's break this down by region. I'm always curious to see where the action is concentrated globally.
Absolutely. So in 2025, North America is expected to hold the largest share of the FCTS market. We're talking USD 584.60 million. Wow, okay.
And projected CAGR of 5.0% through 2033. That means they'll continue to hold a major portion, over 40% of the global market. This likely reflects their, existing extensive grid infrastructure and ongoing investments in modernizing it.
Makes sense. And within North America, the U.S. is the big one.
Yeah, the United States is the dominant player.
Yeah.
USD 461.25 million market in 2025, 4.8% CAGR. Canada and Mexico follow USD 70.15 million and USD 53.20 million, respectively. Their growth rates are actually slightly higher, interestingly.
Okay, let's cross the Atlantic to Europe. How do they stack up?
Europe comes in second in terms of market size, USD 458.2 million in 2025, and actually a matching CGR of 5.0%.
Oh, same growth rate.
Yeah. They also account for a significant global share, over 30%. This strong showing probably reflects Europe's ambitious renewable energy targets and the increasing need for efficient cross-border energy trading, which FSDS technologies really help with.
Right, connecting all those national grids. Looking at individual European countries, Germany leads, yeah. USD 90.72 million market, 5.2% CAGR. Russia has a significant market too, at USD 71.02 million, but a slightly lower CAGR, 4.0%. The UK shows a healthy USD 76.98 million market, with a strong 5.8% CAGR.
Okay.
And then you've got other notable markets like France, Italy, Spain, each with its own growth dynamic.
But now here's where the growth story really picks up, isn't it? The Asia-Pacific region, APAC.
Indeed. APAC starts with a USD 379.20 million market in 2025, but is projected to grow at an impressive CAGR of 9.0%.
9%.
Yeah, that's the fastest growth rate globally, and they already hold around 23% of the market. This rapid expansion really signifies the massive investments in grid infrastructure happening in those rapidly industrializing and urbanizing economies across Asia.
That makes total sense. Huge populations, growing energy demands. China's leading the charge.
China is leading the way in APAC, yes. USD 37.26 million market, 8.5% CGR. But look at India, smaller market currently, USD 37.92 million, but a very strong 10.9% CAGR.
Double digits.
Exactly. Japan and South Korea also show robust growth. It really seems like APAC is going to be a key driver, maybe the key driver, of the FCTS market in the coming years.
Okay, what about the rest of the world? South America, Middle East, Africa?
South America has a 2025 market size of USD 60.04 million, 5.0% CAGR, so just over 5% of the global share. Brazil's the main player there.
Right.
The Middle East shows a USD 63.20 million market with a solid 6.7% CAGR. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are key contributors. Africa currently has the smallest market at USD 34.76 million, but a respectable 5.9% CGR, with South Africa being significant.
So the pattern is pretty clear then. North America and Europe are the current leaders in, let's say, adoption volume.
Exactly. But the most dynamic growth, the fastest expansion, is definitely happening in the Asia-Pacific region.
Okay, so we have a good grip on the market's geography. Now, what's actually powering this global growth? What are the main drivers pushing the demand for these APAC technologies?
Well, the report highlights several critical factors. First and foremost is the increasing demand for grid stability. Like we discussed at the start, the growing integration of renewables like solar and wind.
Which are variable.
Exactly, inherently variable. That creates significant challenges for maintaining a stable power supply. FACTS devices are essential for smoothing out these fluctuations, ensuring reliability. The report even mentions a 2021 project by Hitachi Energy in Switzerland where FACTS tech boosted the electric rail network's capacity. A tangible example right there.
Yeah, like adding shock absorbers to a car for a bumpy road. That analogy makes it really clear.
Precisely. You can't just plug in intermittent power sources without having the infrastructure to manage that variability.
Right. What other factors are driving this market?
Secondly, the report points to rising electricity consumption globally. This is particularly driven by industrialization in developing economies. More factories, growing cities mean a greater need for power, and that power needs to be transmitted efficiently, often over long distances. FACTS technologies help minimize energy losses during transmission, making the grid more efficient overall.
Okay, so efficiency is key too, and the tech itself is improving.
That's the third point, yeah. Advancements in power electronics themselves are crucial. Innovations in components like IGBTs, integrated gate bipolar transistors, and silicon carbides, SiC, are leading to FACTS devices that are more efficient, more reliable, and can switch power much faster.
Faster switching means better control.
Exactly. More precise control of the grid. And the report also touches on the increasing use of digital control systems and even AI in managing the grid.
Artificial intelligence. How does that fit in?
Well, these digital advancements allow for more sophisticated, more proactive control. AI algorithms can analyze grid conditions in real time and use FACTS devices to sort of prevent potential disturbances before they even happen. Makes the whole system much more resilient.
Okay, so lots of powerful drivers. What about the other side of the coin? What are some of the hurdles or challenges that might slow down the adoption of FACTS?
The report identifies a couple of key restraints. The primary one is the high initial investment and installation costs. FACTS devices, well, they're sophisticated pieces of technology.
Right.
They have advanced components, complex control systems. Installing them often requires significant modifications to existing grid infrastructure, which all adds up to a substantial upfront expense.
That makes sense. These aren't exactly off-the-shelf solutions, I imagine.
Not at all. And that leads to the second major restraint. The complexity of integrating these devices into the existing power grid. This needs highly specialized engineers, extensive planning.
A lot of expertise.
Exactly, to ensure compatibility and optimal performance. It can be a time-consuming and costly process. So, while the long-term benefits improve stability, efficiency are clear, the initial investment and integration challenges can be pretty significant barriers.
Right. So looking ahead then, what are some of the key trends shaping the future of the FACTS market, according to the report?
Well, one major trend is the increasing adoption of smart grids and digitalized power systems. As power grids become more intelligent, with real-time monitoring, advanced sensors, data analytics, FACS-CTS devices become even more critical.
How so?
They enable things like real-time voltage regulation, dynamic power flow control, rapid fault detection. Think of it like a smart highway system that automatically adjusts traffic flow. FACS-CTS are the tools that let the grid make those adjustments in electricity flow.
So the smarter the grid gets, the more indispensable these smart control technologies become. Okay, what's the other key trend?
The second major trend is, unsurprisingly perhaps, the continued and growing deployment of renewable energy sources.
Back to renewables again.
Exactly. As we discussed, the variability of solar and wind necessitates robust solutions for transmitting power over long distances, minimizing losses, and maintaining voltage stability across wider areas. FACTS technologies are crucial for enabling this large-scale integration. It's kind of a virtuous cycle, really.
What do you mean?
Well, the growth of renewables drives the need for FACTS, and in turn, FACT2 FACTS make it possible to integrate more renewables effectively and reliably.
It's a really interconnected energy ecosystem. Now, the report also delves into a significant external factor, the potential impact of renewed trade tensions. It specifically mentions something called Liberation Day tariffs in 2025. This sounds like it could have some serious ripple effects.
It certainly introduces a significant element of uncertainty, yeah. The report anticipates a period of increased volatility in global trade because of these potential tariffs, with rates varying considerably across different sectors and countries.
And electronics are key for FACTS.
Precisely. The electronics sector, which is fundamental to FACS-CTS technology, is projected to be particularly affected. This is primarily due to the ongoing trade dynamics between the U.S. and China. Tariffs on certain electronics, including semiconductors and consumer electronics, could reportedly reach as high as 145%.
145%. That's a massive increase. And I imagine China, being a major player in electronics manufacturing, wouldn't just accept that.
Exactly. The report suggests potential retaliatory measures from China, increased duties on U.S. goods potentially as high as 125%, and maybe restrictions on the export of critical minerals essential for electronics production.
Wow.
This kind of trade friction can directly impact the FACS market. It disrupts the intricate global supply chains that manufacturers rely on.
Right, the just-in-time stuff gets messy.
Yeah. And it significantly increases the cost of crucial components. Think semiconductors, the brains of FACS devices, but also lithium-ion batteries for related energy storage, other electronic components.
So the basic building blocks of these advanced grid technologies could become more expensive and harder to source. What are the potential consequences?
Well, we could see increased pressure on various industries that rely on these components, potentially leading to higher prices for FACS systems themselves, maybe delays in deployment projects. Companies might really need to rethink their sourcing strategies.
Looking for alternatives.
Exploring alternative suppliers, perhaps in regions like India, Mexico, or Vietnam. Maybe even redesigning their products to use components that aren't hit as hard by tariffs.
It sounds like a major strategic headache for companies in this space. But the report also notes that China remains critical in the global electronics market, right?
Absolutely. Even with significant tariffs, China's sheer scale in electronics manufacturing means it will likely remain a crucial part of the supply chain for many companies. It's complex because many components sourced from other countries still rely on subparts that originate in China.
A real web of dependencies.
Exactly. U.S. firms, for example, are estimated to potentially face an 18–25% increase in their input costs. Plus, contract manufacturers in those alternative regions might face capacity constraints if everyone tries to shift sourcing at once.
Okay, so in this unpredictable trade landscape, what strategies might companies in the FACS market adopt? How do they navigate this?
Well, robust market research becomes even more vital, doesn't it? Companies will need to diligently identify new suppliers, closely analyze cost fluctuations, optimize their product designs to maybe mitigate tariff impacts,
Stay agile.
and stay constantly updated on evolving trade regulations. We might see more companies following the lead of firms like, say, Apple and Dell by diversifying their production geographically, investing in sophisticated digital tools to manage their supply chains, and really designing products with cost resilience in mind from the start.
It sounds like agility and adaptability will definitely be key to weathering these potential trade storms. Okay, let's shift focus now to the companies actually operating in the FACS market. Who are the major players shaping this industry?
The report describes a highly competitive landscape. Key players are focusing on continuous innovation, forging strategic partnerships, and expanding their global reach. Some of the major names highlighted are, the well-established global giants,
Or like who?
like ABB Ltd, Siemens AG, General Electric, GE, Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, Toshiba Corporation. Also significant companies such as Alstom SA and CG Power and Industrial Solutions.
So it's a mix of really large multinational energy technology companies. Did the report give any recent examples of their activities?
Yes, it did. For instance, in March 2023, Mitsubishi Electric received a substantial order for a 700 MVA STATCOM system in Japan. That's expected to be operational by 2031 and will play a key role in integrating more renewable energy there.
Okay, big project.
And back in September 2021, Adani Transmission in India announced a significant investment, USD 160 million, to strengthen their power transmission infrastructure, which likely involves FCTS technologies. These examples just underscore the ongoing investment and activity within the market.
Right, so a lot of established players are actively competing and investing. Now, the report also breaks down the market into different segments based on the products themselves and their applications. Let's explore those. What are the key segments when we look at the product outlook?
Okay, when we look at the materials used in FAPTS devices or related components, feldspar emerges as the dominant segment.
Feldspar. That's a pretty common mineral, isn't it? What's its connection to advanced power electronics?
Exactly. It might seem surprising, but certain types of ceramics made from feldspar have excellent thermal and dielectric, that's electrical insulation properties.
Ah, insulation.
Yes. These characteristics make them essential for manufacturing high-voltage electrical components and insulating materials used in FACTS devices like SVCs and STATCOMs. Their ability to withstand high temperatures and provide good electrical insulation under high voltage makes them widely used.
That's fascinating. A real connection between basic material science and cutting-edge grid tech. What about the fastest-growing product segment in terms of materials?
That would be nepheline cyanide.
Nepheline cyanide, okay.
This material offers superior electrical insulation properties, and it's also relatively lightweight. As grids modernize and we need high-performance materials for integrating renewables, often involving long-distance, high-voltage transmission, nepheline cyanide is seeing growing demand. It has low iron content, excellent resistance to thermal stress. Good stuff for advanced grid components.
So while feldspar is the current leader in material usage, nepheline cyanide is gaining traction because its properties are maybe better suited for some of the newer, more demanding grid applications.
That seems to be the trend, yes.
Now, how does the report segment the market based on where these technologies are actually being used, the main application areas?
Okay, in terms of application, glass making is currently the dominant segment.
Glass making, how does that fit in?
Well, this again ties back to the importance of feldspar and nepheline cyanide. Both are extensively used in producing high-quality glass. And that glass finds numerous applications, industrial, architectural, but also fiberglass and specialty glass components used in power transmission systems because glass offers durability, thermal resistance, and chemical stability.
Ah, okay. So the raw materials are key not just in the FACTS devices themselves, but also in related industries that support power transmission infrastructure.
Precisely.
What about the application area that's growing the fastest?
That would be ceramic manufacturing. This is being driven by the increasing demand for advanced electrical insulation materials in the power sector itself.
Right, for insulators and things.
Exactly. Ceramics made from feldspar and nepheline cyanide offer those superior dielectric properties and thermal stability we talked about. They're crucial for insulators, other high-voltage components used in smart grids, and for connecting renewables reliably and safely.
It really highlights how interconnected materials science and energy infrastructure are. Finally, the report includes an Others Outlook segment. What does that cover?
This segment includes things like refractories and other miscellaneous applications. Currently, refractories represent the dominant portion of this Others category.
Refractories. Heat-resistant materials.
Yes, exactly. These materials, often using feldspar and nepheline cyanide, are valued for their ability to withstand high temperatures, their mechanical strength, and durability. They're used in critical power transmission components like high-voltage insulators, and also in linings for industrial furnaces used to make various grid components. So they contribute significantly to overall grid stability in that way.
In the fastest-growing part within this other segment.
That's categorized simply as other applications. This captures the rising demand for specialized materials. Think high-performance composites, advanced coatings for electrical equipment, specialty fillers used in electrical insulation. Again, the push towards smarter grids and integrating more renewables is driving the need for these specialized materials with enhanced performance.
Okay, so let's try and wrap up our deep dive into this FCTS market report.
Yeah.
We're seeing significant overall growth, looking at, what, over 6% CAGR globally?
6.2%, yes.
With the Asia-Pacific region really leading the charge in terms of growth rate, nearly 9%.
That's right.
And this growth is really being fueled by that urgent need for grid stability
Right.
as we integrate more renewables, plus rising global electricity demand and continuous improvements in the power electronics themselves.
Absolutely. Those are the key drivers.
But we also have challenges: the high upfront costs, the complexities of integration, and then there's that wild card of potential global trade friction adding uncertainty.
Definitely hurdles to overcome and something to watch.
And when we look at the segments, feldspar and its use in glassmaking are currently dominant in their respective categories.
But nepheline syenite and its application in advanced ceramics are showing the most rapid growth, indicating where some of the future focus might lie.
That's an excellent summary. It really underscores how fasting TS technologies aren't just some niche engineering topic, but are absolutely essential for building a modern, reliable, and ultimately sustainable energy infrastructure for all of us.
Couldn't agree more. They're fundamental to the energy transition.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, given the increasing complexities of our power grids and this ever-evolving global economic landscape, how might future breakthroughs in material science, perhaps even beyond feldspar and nepheline syenite, further revolutionize or maybe accelerate the deployment of these vital FAST-ETS technologies? It's definitely a thought-provoking question to end on.